What's going on, everyone? So I want to talk about Austin Reaves and a glaring concern, an issue that we have seen that is part of the reason why he has struggled in the playoffs. And you saw it in the OKC game. Now, I want to be fair. I want to add context and stuff. Austin Reaves has been fantastic this year. I mean, the guy's playing at all-star level. Without Luka and LeBron, he's playing at an MVP level. Right? Guy has just been unbelievable. Right? I've praised him tremendously this season. Last night was a bad game all around for the Lakers. Austin Reaves had a terrible game. Luka even had a terrible game. So again, was this just one game? Or is this kind of a trend that's an issue, right? Lakers have clear needs without a doubt. There's no ands, ifs, buts about it. We talked about it in the offseason. We talked about it, even when the Lakers were, excellent and 7-3 or 7-2 and all that. Like, I still talked about, hey, Lakers, they need athleticism. They need two-way play. You need perimeter help, right? There's things that this Lakers team needs. LeBron, they definitely need. LeBron would help and solve a lot. He's going to mask a lot of things, right? But Austin Reaves, you saw in particular with this game, the lack of ability to handle the ball pressure that OKC was giving him, right? And the reason that this is something that's worth talking about is because this was the same issue we've seen in the playoffs, right? Particularly against Minnesota. Right? Austin Reaves has struggled with that athleticism and ball pressure when somebody can get into his jersey and he's not getting the whistle and they're able to be physical with him, right? Austin Reaves has really struggled as a just basketball player. He's really struggled to get a shot off. He's really struggled to generate offense. He's struggled to, initiate offense and bring the ball up the court, right? And that is something that we needed to see improvement after the Minnesota game. He supposedly, put on some muscle, did some stuff, but OKC bullied him, right? And that is something that he's got to figure out. Now, luckily, you still have a long season. There are only a couple teams that you really have to worry about with that, even come playoff time. But you're probably going to have to go through teams like Minnesota and OKC and Denver and things like that if you want to get to an NBA final. Right? You look at guys like when we played Denver and what like Bruce Brown was able to do to guys like D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reaves, stuff like, again, just be physical, be in their jersey, bumping them around, getting them off their spots, right? Even if you get the occasional foul, you stay aggressive, you keep hounding them, right? And we've seen Austin Reaves have those struggles. Another kind of concern, and I've talked about this for years, right, is Austin Reaves' inconsistencies from the three. Right? He's really got to figure out his three-point shot. And I've highlighted this literally for years now. When Austin Reaves is hitting the three ball, he's a completely different player because it opens up so much more for him. And I'm not saying he has to go 5 of 6 every night or anything like that. I'm not saying he has to, be 70% from three-point range, but it's one extremity or the other for Austin Reaves, right? Again, not my opinion. Go look it up. Go look up the game, even the last few seasons, right? Austin Reaves, right, especially the playoffs, right? Austin Reaves, when his three-point shot isn't falling, right, he becomes limited. He becomes reliant on being able to get to his spots, create that, that separation, be able to kind of, use that foul bait and stuff like that to get to the line. We've seen it with guys historically like James Harden. James Harden in the regular season and the playoffs, completely different player, right? Because again, James Harden was able to get 20 free throw attempts every night, and then you get to the playoffs and that whistle dries up and he's not able to foul bait, and he's got to generate other offense naturally. Austin Reaves, when his three-point shot is falling, it makes it easier for him to generate that other offense because now teams are closing out harder, so he's able to kind of attack the closeout, kind of get to his spots, elevate, knock down, right? It also adds confidence to his shot and stuff, just turns him into a completely different player. Like I said, the problem is he has one extremity or another, right? He's either 1 of 9 or he's like 7 of 9, right? He needs to find that balance in between. It's very old school LeBron-esque, right? Because people will look at Austin Reaves' three-point percentage and be like, oh, he's, he shoots 37% or whatever, right? But he's not really, like, good shooters, the consistent shooters that you see that are, 37 to 40%. Yes, it's an average, right? But you can kind of clock the good shooters in for X amount of threes a night. Bad games happen, outliers happen, but you can kind of clock those guys in for, a certain amount of threes. Austin Reaves, you have no idea. Like Austin Reaves, you don't know if you're about to get a 5-3 night or you're going to get a 1-3 night, right? He needs to find a way to be better, especially come playoff time. Again, where if they are being physical with him, he can start to, kind of have teams and kind of bait those teams by using the 3 ball and getting into spots. Not just that, but we saw in the playoffs when Luke and LeBron James, playoff time, Austin Reaves playing a lot of off ball. He now becomes more of a threat if he's knocking down his 3 ball. So he needs to find consistency in his 3-point shot. I'm hoping that progresses as the season progresses, right? Because Austin Reaves, even last year, started the last 2 years, I've talked about this. Austin Reaves started out terribly. You got to remember last year with Darvin Ham. Remember, Darvin Ham ended up benching Austin Reaves because he was so bad. He shot, I think it was 28% from 3-point range. Last year, he shot 31% from 3-point range early on. This season, he's shooting poorly from 3-point range, and then it started to pick up a little bit. So I'm hoping that kind of happens too, that we get that kind of upward trend, right? Again, Austin Reaves is a very good basketball player. Anytime I criticize Austin Reaves, people label me an Austin Reaves hater. When he plays phenomenal, I praise him. When he plays poorly, I criticize, right? That's how it works. Luka Doncic deserves criticism for last night's game, right? The guy just took terrible shot selection. I get it. You're down. You're trying, you're trying to catch fire and hope to get you back in that game. But some of the shot selection was not good by him. He didn't take care of the basketball extremely well. He didn't play well. It was a bad game in general. So again, I don't want to get too on Austin Reaves, but you got to remember, Austin Reaves is the guy that we're about to pay $42 million. That's supposed to be the guy slotted alongside Luka long term. Talked about it all offseason. The eyes on him are bigger than anybody else. He deserves more attention than anybody else because he's going to get the max money, or he's not, right? And he's a guy that could just leave the Lakers. Lakers are going to have to make a decision with him one way or another. Now, again, it's one game. I don't want to get... That's why I didn't say, this is how Austin Reaves is. I just said it's concerning because you saw it in the Minnesota game and you saw it in this OKC game. And the jury's out. Teams know. How do you slow down Austin Reaves? You get physical with him, right? You get in his jersey. You make him work. You make him have to play hard. You make him have to fight through that contact, and he's not very good at it. He hasn't been very good at it, right? So guess what's going to happen come playoff time? Teams are going to get into his jersey. They're going to make him work. They're going to make him fight through that contact, and he's either going to be able to adapt to it and adjust and have a great playoff series and be great despite it, or you're going to get what you got in Minnesota where he becomes essentially unplayable, right? So these to me are kind of the building blocks for Austin Reaves. These are the things that you need to circle. And he said, you don't want to play your best game 12. You want to play it later. Sure, I didn't really like that answer, but you want to look bad games. If you was just like, hey, it was a bad night, it happens. Bad nights happen. I'll be better type thing. Then sure, but kind of be like, it's just I don't know. I personally didn't like that answer. But look, again, Austin Reaves is a very good player. Both can be true. He could be an excellent player and have struggles to his game. Even some of the greats have struggles to his game. Like Giannis, you don't want taking 10 threes a game. Right? But that doesn't mean he's a bad player. That doesn't mean he's not a superstar. It doesn't mean he's not. Again, guys have issues to their game. Right? Austin Reaves, his issues are, again, concerning. It's something that he's going to have to figure out, navigate, and adapt to. He's got to work it out one way or another. He's got to find ways to be able to fight through that contact and be able to still be effective. And a lot of it has to do with him when he's shooting the ball well. If he can find that consistency, particularly with his 3-point shot, it opens up and makes things a lot more challenging, a lot more difficult. When he gives that ball up, he can go and make his move and then get the ball back and then make his play and now put the defense on their toes. Now you're being overly aggressive. Okay, well now I can just slip by you or get the step back or whatever, right? Austin Reaves, these are things he's going to have to figure out. These are things that he's going to have to work out. And what we've seen from the Minnesota game and the OKC game is he's not a max player, right? That he has his issues that are going to be apparent come playoff time, right? I said it going into the season. Austin Reaves could average 50 points, 50 rebounds, 50 assists. But if he lays another dud in the playoffs, I don't care. I don't care how great you are in the regular season. We're the Lakers. We don't play for playoffs. We don't play for conference finals. We don't play just to make the NBA Finals. We play to win that Larry O'Brien trophy, right? And yes, you have to get to the playoffs in order to do that, but there's ways to get to playoffs without Austin Reaves. Now, again, I'm not saying that, Chicken Little sky is falling. That's it. You have to trade Austin Reaves. Like I've talked about, it's very hard. I'm not against trading Austin Reaves at all, but it's very hard to trade him right now for two reasons. One, you got to wait till LeBron James is fully healthy and can show he can stay healthy. And Luka Doncic, same thing. You need those two to be healthy. Otherwise, you kind of fall into that issue where you're going to end up wearing down one or the other. Two, Austin Reaves' contract is so cheap, it's tough. It makes it really hard to get real value because the Lakers don't want or need a bunch of draft picks. Like, yeah, a team might be like, hey, we'll give you this young guy and, 4 firsts. But, like, Lakers are trying to win right now. So a team like Minnesota could be like, hey, we'll give you Jaden McDaniels and 5 firsts or something crazy like that. Lakers can't even make that trade even if they wanted to, right? And you don't want to trade a bunch of your other players in that deal because you want to use that to now go get other guys to solve other needs and really carve out this roster and this team. But you also would need LeBron and Luka Doncic. Austin Reaves is great in multiple ways, right? Being that offensive engine, being that guy that, takes pressure off of LeBron, takes pressure off of Luka, handles the basketball. We've seen Luka have success with a secondary shot creator alongside him, Kyrie, Jalen Brunson, all of that. And I've talked about Austin Reaves is better than that version of Jalen Brunson was in Dallas, right? Austin Reaves has been fantastic. But there are issues to his game that are concerning, particularly come playoff time. And it's something he's going to have to figure out and navigate. And it's worth discussing. It's worth having and making a video on because it's something that, again, we just saw. And now you play a team in OKC that's like, okay, watch. And they just bullied him, right? And that's something that he's got to, because OKC all roads lead through OKC. They're the defending champions. They're the best team in the league again this year. You're probably going to have to beat them unless you get lucky and somebody else does. But even then, you're probably going to have to beat them in order to win an NBA championship. And you can't have Austin Reaves be a non-factor and getting bullied all series and basically being completely taken out of the game, right? You need him to be, even if he's not, MVP, all-star Austin Reaves, you still need him to be good enough. So again, this is something that it's just a concern right now. I'm not saying like that's it, guy is absolute trash, but based on that OKC game, based on that Minnesota game, right? Again, he's a very good basketball player, but the guy has issues, and he's had those issues for basically since he came into the league. It's not something that he's corrected yet, which is concerning, right? Like you think like, hey, I'm really struggling with ball play. I need to bulk up. I need to be able to, handle that better. You kind of figure those things out. And, based on that OKC game, it doesn't look like he's figured that out yet. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. If you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.